Hello, hello, hello. I've gotten a bit rusty. It's been a while since I've been here live streaming and yeah, kick things off with a bang there. But otherwise, good to be here. Nice to be back live streaming. I haven't been disappeared because of any negative reasons, only positive busy ones, fortunately. But I've been up to a few bits and pieces. We're going to get through some of that today. We're going to talk about lots of updates. But before we go any further, plenty of people said hello in the pre-show there, but I just wanted to walk through a few more. Jeremy joining from Australia saying, not even kidding, waking up early for these streams is what helped me settle into my job's early shifts. Jeremy's doing some real early shifts on a new job, so nice to have you here. Adam as well, hey there, just got back from an event in NYC. Looking forward to seeing what you've been up to. Yeah, I've been up to a few bits and pieces, and exactly. H2R layouts animated. We'll come to that a little bit later in the live stream here for sure. But that is one of the many updates. In fact, apologies if I missed anybody else there, but nice to see lots of friendly, familiar faces like Ryan here and coming in from Australia on a ridiculous time, and Eric here as well from Rochester. Nice, nice, nice. And lots of other familiar faces along the way. Gert, good to see you here as well. So, what are we going to get into today? Well, excuse me, I'm already losing my voice. Good start. On today's show, we have what I've been up to. I'm just going to share a few bits and pieces about what I've been doing since not being live for a couple of weeks. Also, we're going to talk about H2R Graphics version 2. That was announced and released in beta a few weeks ago. Hoping to have a few more bits and pieces to say about that as today, as this live stream goes on. I have plenty of new stuff to share, and been great to see people use it along the way as I've been gone for a few weeks, but I've got plenty of emails and messages about it, so that's great. Let's see, what else? Where are we? We have talked about that and that and that. H2R layouts goes animated. Yeah, this is a pretty new and exciting one for sure. I've got some updates on that. I'm going to share those later in the stream, maybe even in the post show, but we'll see how the day goes, the time goes. Talk about a few upcoming bits and pieces I have here in my studio or on the way here, and some ideas about videos I have for those, and you can let me know if it sounds interesting. And of course, Q&A along the way. I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions about this stuff as it pops up. So if you do have a question as it comes in, then just write it in the chat. Try to include @here to record on it so it shows up super big on the social page here on graphics, and then I can get to it as the time goes on for sure. Otherwise, you can let me know along the way if there's any issues. I'm guessing you can all hear and see me just fine, but I'll just keep going unless you tell me otherwise. So, what was I going to start with? Let me just fix the position on this thing and say, yes, where have I been? So I haven't live streamed for a couple of Mondays in a row. If you noticed that, then you're a true friend of mine. And if you didn't notice, then that's perfectly fine too. But I have taken a few Mondays off streaming. And that's because I was doing a few bits and pieces during those times. So I think the best thing to do is to show you some of the bits and pieces that I've been up to for the last few weeks. So it all started with a trip to, let me see if I press that button. You can see that. Great. A trip to Pisa, where with the help of a good buddy that I now have, Batista, who's in this video right here, we did a little project together, mostly his work, where he built, I'm just going to skip through this YouTube video here, where he built what he calls the octopus. Let me find a really good place that shows it off. It all fits inside this pelly case, and then you pull it out, and it's sort of like a custom designed enclosure which houses an ATEM Mini Extreme, and it allows him to pull in feeds from people all over Europe from their venues, and then he, and in this case me and him, were able to show them on a live stream. So the idea being that last well, it's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe now, but I was there in Pisa in Italy. I got to fly down there, meet with him and some of his team. We had a great time touring around the place. And then we ended up using this equipment while we were there. We brought in feeds from all around Europe. We mixed a show, broadcast that out to their YouTube channel. It was very much an episode 0 test. Let's see how this thing goes. We had some funky internet challenges along the way, as you usually do, but that's no problem. In the box itself, there's loads of these bits and pieces, like a custom power supply. It's got a couple of stream decks in it too, but it also has these 4 ATEM streaming bridges, as well as a bunch of Raspberry Pis. One of them, no wait, 2 of them were running Companion, and then 4 of them were able to take in RTMP feeds. So we actually didn't use the streaming bridges in the end. We ended up just using these RTMPs coming in via the Raspberry Pis, which worked pretty well. Like I said, we had a few challenges, but that was the internet in the building that was the problem. Funny enough, it was an internet-based festival, but getting internet there wasn't so easy. Well, we did our best, and we ended up jumping and making changes, as you do when you're live, trying to sort stuff out. We made it happen, so it went really well. It was great to go there and do an event. I haven't done an event in a long time, and any events that I did before that out of the country were always conferences. I used to bring lots of equipment myself, but this time I only brought a backpack, and all it had in it was a couple of bits and pieces, like an extra monitor, converter or two, a cable or two, tape, and it was really quite a luxury to not bring a bunch of equipment. And luckily he was able to bring that, the octopus, and it all worked nicely. Really really cool gig. Hopefully I can do it again with him, and we can I can show it off some more. I did get some footage there, so hopefully I can do it behind the scenes, maybe for members of the channel. I can post some stuff from it. So that's one of the updates from this past few weeks. Another one, if I could show you that, over on my, this is a pretty random one, but over on my Instagram, Here to Record's Instagram, if you're not following, then now would be the time. But here is a photo of me holding a camera and shoving it very much in the face of the, if you don't know this person, I wouldn't be too surprised, but that's the Prime Minister of Sweden. I'm just posting a link here on Instagram. You think I could spell? I just posted a link there to this exact post, but it was me sort of running after the Prime Minister of Sweden, getting some B-roll of him, and then we ended up shooting an interview with him. I'm sure I don't have too many details other than it was a real security challenge, to say the least, to use equipment near someone of that profile, and it had its exciting challenges, that's for sure. But it was fun. It was really fun, and to manage to run around and get some B-roll while there was loads of people around and stuff, it was quite the challenge. So you'll see it in that post. Actually, I said to the company, there's a company based here in Sweden, FremLab they're called, and I said to them a while back, I don't want to do just any old gig. I want to do something that's a bit more challenging, and this time that really pulled off and became quite the challenge for sure. But it was fun. I really enjoyed it. That's update number 2 where I've been at. And then last week I wasn't live again because I was a little bit more local, about 20 minutes away on the train, doing a job for Lund University. And during that time I got to use an ATEM Constellation 8K. And what you're seeing here is a video I posted yesterday on the YouTube channel. If you watched this in isolation, you might have thought it was strange, but if you watched it as part of like the YouTube Shorts, whatever they call that feature, then it's sort of like a looping style video. It's about 12 seconds, and it just sort of shows off the equipment that I was using last week with the ATEM Constellation 8K. I have to keep pressing the loop myself here in this case, but it was pretty cool. And you can see, or maybe you can see there that there's a one of the ATEM 1ME advanced panels as well in that setup. Big setup. It is portable technically, but it's heavy. I wouldn't want to lift it, but it's very portable, built into one case. Really cool. I really enjoyed using it. It's got the ATEM 1ME advanced panel inside of it, and whenever you use that for a while, it is the way to control the ATEM. It really makes sense. ATEM Minis, ATEM Minis Extremes, it's all great to have those buttons on the front, but to have the advanced panel And I have made a video about that in the past, and I only played with it a little bit. I wasn't able to take it um, on many gigs and do some real work with it. I was just able to play with it, and then I had to send it back. But once you get it in your hands and you play with it for a little bit, and if you were to go for an 8 constellation or anything down from there, all the way down to the minis, I think it makes perfect sense to invest the money. I think it's somewhere around 2,000 euros, maybe a bit more than that. But if you're thinking about something like that, I definitely recommend it because it was a really great device, mapping all the buttons as you wished. It all worked nicely, so I had a great time using that. And that brings us up to, I guess today, or this week was the first week in a while that I was able just to sit here, do a bit of development, enjoy coding, and do all that fun stuff. So that brings me to H2R Graphics V2. I sort of announced the beta a couple of weeks ago on the live stream, and since then it has had quite a few downloads and people testing it. I've had quite a few emails of people with, I would say there wasn't as many issues as there were ideas, which is excellent. I wanted to hear about issues, but people sent me ideas instead. So that makes me think that they didn't have too many issues. Maybe they did and they didn't want to mention it, but it seemed like mostly good ideas for the future came popping in. So that's excellent. I think though, I would love to just take you through some of the changes I've made in the last short while. Let me just move some stuff around here. Because I'm pretty excited about this new feature that will be coming out. And I know some of you haven't even used V2 yet, but if you're interested in H2R Graphics version 2, all you have to do is go to this web address and then sign up for the newsletter. And after you bounce through a GDPR blah 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 step, then you will get to download the V2 beta. It's very much a beta, so take that with a pinch of salt. Randy here saying no real issues other than learning limitations. Exactly. I'm sort of hesitant to make too many videos about it right now because I really want to. I'm really keen to wait until I have a little bit more things locked down before I make like proper videos about it. But I'm certainly trying my best on these live streams to explain it as much as I can, definitely. And Eric here saying, I've seen a lot of traffic on the Discord for H2R V2. It all seems like a ton of suggestions, but everyone really excited to try it out. Excellent. That is definitely true, for sure. It's helping a lot. Oh, and thank you so much to Stefan here for the super sticker, which, as you can see here on H2R Graphics V2, instead of showing the sticker, it describes what happens in the sticker. So in this sticker, that Stefan has sent. Thank you, Stefan. It's a pair character lifting some weights saying, keep it up. That's a great, I can see the little pair there, and if you're watching live, you can see it too. But thank you for that. I appreciate the support a lot. It's very kind of you. And so like I said, there's been lots of great suggestions for improvements. And some of the stuff is things that I already had on the list, and some of the stuff is stuff that I was actively working on. I just wanted to get the beta out there. So now if I show you V2 again, it looks kind of similar to what you might have seen before in the past. But one of the new, well, let's see, where should I start? With a couple of the new things. One of the new things I've added that people really wanted to see was some transition speeds. So right now, if you're doing sort of certain productions, maybe the speed of the transition is a little too snappy for you. So what I can do now is turn it way down. I have no idea how this is going to look. If I go back over and show, let's see, show this message here, you can see that it comes in really slow. Now, I think that's a bit too slow for a slide. But I can't say what you want to do with your graphics, for sure. But I think it works pretty well whenever you do a fade, maybe like 2 seconds. And if I show that same one again, then that nicely slows it down, gives a very different approach to what was a much faster transition before. So let's say I do a half-second transition instead, social, and then I hide that. It just it disappears in a second. So I think that'll be a nice addition for, depending on your production that you're doing. Oh, and thank you so much to DM here for the M1 fund donation. Very kind of you. In fact, I totally forgot. I need that money. Anybody else wants to give me M1 funds? Because I spent a considerable amount of money on an M1 the other day. I woke up the day after the announcement because I didn't get to see it live, and at 6 a.m. I watched the announcement, and then at 6:50 a.m. I bought the M1 14-inch MacBook Pro, not the Max version, but the top Pro version. There's a lot of words in there. So I didn't go all the way, but I went most of the way. So yes, DM, thank you so much for that M1 fund. And that is a small and welcomed knock off a considerable amount of money to spend in one go. I don't think I've ever spent that much money on a computer. And I don't think I will for a long time again. That's for sure. Whew, it was plenty. If anyone else bought one here in the comments, let me know what one you went for. I'd love to know. Yeah, and in fact, it took me so long to order. I see that Randy, you've already replied there with I have the 14-inch M1 Max with 24 GPU. Wow. Okay, it arrives tomorrow. Now you did go all out. That was impressive. Wow. That's crazy. But it's arriving tomorrow as well. It took me so long that mine doesn't come for another couple of weeks. So that's somewhat unfortunate, but I can wait. I can definitely wait. Aaron saying I want the new M1 Pro Max or whatever it's called, but I can't bring myself to spend that much. Yeah, it's a painful amount. But actually, the laptop I have needs to go back to the people who own it. The previous company were kind enough to let me hang on to it, but it's time to send it back to them. Anyway, I'll come back to the comments on M1 stuff in a minute. I wanted to show some more. This is one feature in H2R Graphics that I'm super excited about, and I've wanted for the longest time in the old version, and I'm finally now going to be able to bring it to the new version, and I think you're going to like it a lot. It's got a temporary name right now called Variables, and what you can see here, hopefully, is sort of like a table that I've created within the app. So there's two sets of variables in the app. One would be more text-based variables, fixed ones where you can update those via OSC or HTTP, and that's what you see at the top there. Again, this is kind of work in progress, so you'll go with me as I explain. And then on the bottom is more of a table-based solution. So if I go back to this rundown here, you can see in my graphic here that I have not typed in text. I have typed in sort of a shorthand for list 1, list 3, list 1.2. And as you can see, whenever I bring that graphic on air, John Barker, CEO of Here to Record, pops up. But in fact, that corresponds to list 1 over here. This is the list 1, this little list that I've created. And you can see list 1.1, John Barker, Here to Record, the CEO, apparently. But what's really cool is I can type in anything into this thing here. So let's put in Aaron Parecki. Luckily, your chat is right beside me here, or else I can never spell your second name. Parecki. I think I got that right. Company. Let's just say you're from the PK company, and your title is lead 3D printer. That's your job for the purposes of this. So what I can do now is I can click between any of the things on this row here. So for example, I've got Jim Parker here, who's another name of mine. And then I can click on Aaron Parecki, who's the lead 3D printer at the PK company. I don't know if that was an upgrade or a downgrade from your current role, Aaron. But I can really see this tool being useful for filling out, everything from a conference or an upcoming recording, or just for this live stream today. I could fill all these in with all of the stuff that I'm going to talk about, and then as the show goes on, I can just click through them and they show up as a variables that I can use within my graphics. Like I said, that is something I've really wanted to add for the longest time to the current, well, not the current, the old H2R Graphics, but it never really made sense. And I think that'll be really useful for many other use cases down the line when it comes to, for example, if I can, when I work the brick screen back in again to the setup, or whenever you want to show multiple messages throughout a live stream, you can list them all out ahead of time. My plan is to let you import things like CSVs. You could drop a CSV in there and it would fill out that list, and then you could click through all the names. I think that would be really nice. I needed this 2 days ago. And like most tools that I want to build, I really want to to have them ASAP, so I end up just building those first. But I'm working my way through a long list of really good features and some fixes as well, of course, from the previous version. And there was one other graphics thing I wanted to show before I take a look back in the comments, if there's anything that pops in. Yes, a count up timer is something that people have definitely wanted, which makes sense. So now in the timer options, I can add count up, and then I can choose how long it should count up. No, where it should finish when it counts up. So if I set it for a 10 second maybe, let's see if this works. Then it starts at 0 and then works its way up, hopefully to 10 seconds, and then disappears. Yes, there we go. So you can do time count up timers. You could set that to a really high number, like a couple of hours if you needed something to just keep on going and going. But for now, it disappears. I think I want that to like pause at a certain time too, which would be nice. But for now, I think that'll work nicely, and people can use it for sports and stuff alongside the scoreboards. So let me see if there's any questions on any of that before I head into other fun territory. Lindhagen here, joining late. Finally, you're back. How about Companion and H2R G2? Yes, there is some Companion stuff I've already filled out over on the docs. So if you go into the main launcher window for H2R Graphics, let me see, show you that. Yes, and then you visit the docs, and that opens in a different window. So let me just fix that. Here it is. This is what you'll visit, and you have a companion option down on the left hand side. And I explain how to do that right now. Generic HTTP, and you can actually do a lot of stuff. So in here, it describes some of the companion specific things. And then over in the HTTP API part, it goes even more detail into that stuff. So I recommend checking that out if you haven't already. But there's no official companion module at this point because, again, it doesn't really make any sense to make that just yet while I'm still fleshing out the API and stuff. I think I'll get there, but I'm not sure yet. Plenty of other bits and pieces here. A lot about M1, people spending a lot of money on M1s. Yes, great. Randy wants to know. Oh, did I press that? There we go. Randy wants to know, when is the next beta version? Oh, maybe in. Let me see. We'll see how the rest of this stream goes. I have some stuff on the layouts that I'm going to talk about later, and that's really taking a lot of my time just now. But I'm hoping it's in the next week or two, so that I can keep a good pace going, because I have a lot of stuff that I need to fix and stuff. So I might just finalize some of these variables and then and send it out. If you're on the email list already, then I'll send you an email through that. So it's a good place to do it. Aaron was happy with his title, which is good. Ryan says, nice. Thank you, Ryan. Total Sports Channel says, you helped me a lot. I appreciate that. Nice of you to say. And Gert says, can you link the name tags to Google Sheets? Not currently. Not currently. My thought on that is I'm trying to move away from Google Sheets for now. I kind of got stung in the previous version because they changed the API, and then I have to rewrite the application to make that work, and I'm keen not to do that for V1. So I'm still thinking about that. For now, I really want to get all the data into H2R Graphics, but later I'll come to getting data in via APIs instead. So It's just a bit easier to control everything at this point and then add other pieces on top of it. Oh, thank you so much, Mike Hannigan. Mike Hageman. Yes, there we go, Mike Hageman. Keep surprising us with your great work. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate the super chat. Very kind of you. Thank you. Apologies that I butchered your name there, but maybe I'm still saying it badly. You can let me know. But otherwise, I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much. Jimbo wants to know if my sync is off. Possibly. I'm using ATEM and vMix and a USB microphone for this live stream, so it's probably off, yes. But I'm hoping it's close enough. Question for Aaron there, which is funny. Aaron's got questions on my live stream and his own. You're going to have to do more live streams, Aaron, to answer all these questions that are coming your way. Renee wants to know, does V2 have a kind of rundown function? If you mean, is it rundown based, then absolutely. This is V2, you're looking at it right now, and this is a rundown of all the graphics. And I've put them in order that I'm using them on the show today. But if you mean something else, then please let me know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Oh yeah, and here's one from a bit earlier. Camille Q wants to know, is there a lot of people using key fill when occupying two HDMI inputs of an ATEM? That would be a question for the audience here. For me, in the past, I did not use two inputs for the longest time on graphics. I was only using one, and then I was using pure black in the background, and then just avoiding black on my graphics. So that way you can use one input on the ATEM, especially if you have the smaller ATEMs, ATEM Mini, ATEM Mini Pro. I use pure black and then a Luma key to get rid of that black. And I think that was a better way to do it than chroma, especially on the older ATEMs, because the green screen keyer on the ATEM Television Studio HD was really, really bad. It's better on the ATEM Mini now, but it was really bad. It looks like tons of questions are coming in. What's the name? Oh, sorry, sync looks really good to me. Excellent. What's the name? No worries. Good to hear. Thank you for that. Sync sounds good. Sync sounds good. Question: will you be able to do key and fill with H2R Graphics V2? Yes, technically you will be able to do key and fill, but I recommend the best way to do it with tools like OBS or vMix, where on V2 you actually get a browser window that you can just open up in vMix and then output that out. But it's not quite the same as the way I used to do it. And the way I used to do it on V1 was actually like a terrible way of doing it, where I hacked it together so that the fill was always the graphics, of course, but then the key was just like a white and black version that I was smashing together, and it was mostly working until you did certain transitions, and it didn't work out very nicely. And it was really hard to update. That was the problem. Every new feature I added, I had to rethink that part. How is it going to work for key fill? And I think I'll make some videos in the future just about specifically how to get the most out of vMix or OBS to get really good key fill. Because I think if you want really good key fill, it's better to go that option. And if you want okay key fill, then it's better to go for the one input option with pure black in the background. I'm willing to be convinced to go for the hacked solution in the future, but I think that no matter what, it has to come with a little asterisk on it saying it's never going to be good enough, you know. Wow, that was a long answer. And yes, Mike, you want to know any plans on porting the Keyfill hack to V2? No plans, because it's a real piece of work. But it would be good to have a solution without all of the other hardware and software. I do think that as well. Just for the info here from Stefan, I'm using a setup that avoids OBS at all because I'm on Mac OS and OBS makes the fans of my 10 course. Yeah, exactly. And iMac spin up almost immediately after launch without any complex scenes. Yeah, I've never successfully used OBS on a Mac. I barely used it on a PC, but that's just because I've changed to vMix pretty fast. But yeah, I've never really used it on a Mac. And Mark wants to know, can you explain that workflow with OBS? and key fill. You know, I don't think I can in this particular stream. I can do it in I can maybe do it on vMix, but that's not really the same. I can do it in a future video, and I know Aaron has done it on his channel a few times too, and I certainly will. The only reason I can't do it right now is because vMix is using my hardware decklink card, SDI decklink card, and if I open OBS, usually my audio goes a bit weird, so I didn't want to open it right now. But there is a drop down in there for using external cards. Like I said, you do need a dedicated either Ultra Studio or Decklink or something along those lines to generate or to send that key fill out. But I'll have lots of videos and all this stuff for sure in the future. Here's one from Naughty maybe. Might there be opportunities for other chat input sources in the future, please? Yes, absolutely. I said that about V1 and I never got around to it because I realized how hard it was to do that. But for V2, I have much higher excitement about that. And in addition to that, I think I'll make it easier for, or possible at least, for other people to write small in-between functions that they can push in data. So for example, something like Zoom maybe, you want to pull out the chat from Zoom and then you want to push that in. It's unrealistic for me personally to support all the options, but if I open up the API a little bit more and let you send in these comments, then all you'll have to do is write some small code or get someone else to write some small code. Or maybe as a hack project, I can write some small code that stands in between the two. So this time there's much more options. That's what's quite nice about the V2 setup for sure. Okay, cool. I got to the end of a lot of the comments here for sure. And what I'm going to do now is get rid of that one, and we're going to hop into the post show. Now, I'm not going to make you go anywhere for the post show. If you're watching live, stick around. You don't have to go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't switch it off. Stick around and watch more about H2R layouts, the animated stuff, coming very soon to this live stream. I'm going to talk about it. If you're watching on demand, the live show or the post show is for members only, in fact. And this is the part of the show where I like to thank the channel members here who, in a sense, because I'm technically unemployed, I just make these videos, make apps, do all that fun stuff, some consultancy for a job. Then I like to thank everyone who's a member of the channel for sure for signing up. That was very kind of you. And specifically, there's a few people I really like to thank on my Supreme supporters level. That's Jai Reese, Petra over at Tech Condo, Patrick and Jim from Cloud Bedrock, who have been long-standing Supreme supporters of the channel. So if you aren't a member yet, you can click the join button below and sign up as a member. And if you are a member already, thank you so much. And again, thanks for all the super chats on the show so far. So what I'm going to do now is go into the post show. But like I said, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm just going to run this little timer here. This gives me a chance to... Oh, wait, it disappeared. There we go. Stop and start recording.